The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community abroad, Ramtal Amamra, was received in his capacity of Special Envoy of President Tebboune on Tuesday in Bamako by the Malian President Assimi Goïta, to whom he conveyed a message from the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. During the meeting, the two parties exchanged views on the Algerian-Malian bilateral relations, including the latest developments concerning the peace process and national reconciliation in Mali stemming from the Algiers Accord. For his part, the Malian president expressed his deep consideration for Algeria's support to Mali and also his wish to meet President Abdelmajid Tebboune during his next visit to Algeria. Assimi Goïta also expressed his gratitude for Algeria's sustained and sincere efforts in accompanying Mali to meet the challenges of its current transitional period. I am honored for being received by the Malian transitional president and head of state, to whom I handed a message of solidarity and fraternity on behalf of the Algerian head of state Abdelmajid Tebboune. It was also an opportunity to show the transitional president Algeria's unwavering support for Mali, not only under the Algiers peace and reconciliation process, but also in all bilateral and neighboring activities. Both our peoples share the same faith. What affects Algeria affects Mali and vice versa. I also had the occasion to reiterate to the transitional president and head of state, President Abdelmajid Tebboune, invitation to visit Algeria as soon as he finds it convenient. The foreign minister Ramtal Amamra was received by the Malian Prime Minister Choguel Maïga. Both parties held talks about bilateral cooperation in different sectors, in addition to ways and means to further develop them. Our foreign partners need to decolonize their own history. They need to free themselves from certain attitudes, behaviors and visions that are intrinsically linked to the incoherent logic carried by the alleged civilizing mission of the West, which was the ideological cover used to try to commit a crime against humanity, which was the colonization of Algeria, Mali and other many African peoples. So, this decolonization that must take place today is a priority. Therefore, this betrayal of memory, which pushes France's relations with some of our countries into situations of unfortunate crisis, should be cleansed by unconditional mutual respect of our sovereignty and independence of decision-making and acceptance of partnership on a basis of strict equality. There are strategic and economic interests that are well understood and that can only be consolidated by mutual respect and a balance of interests. We stand by the side of Mali and we remind whoever wants to listen to the voice of reason that Africa is not only the cradle of humanity but also the tomb of colonialism and racism. Algeria's national liberation war contributed to the speeding up of this history, of which we are very proud, and this fact makes us extremely vigilant and committed when it comes to preserving our national independence as well as the independence of our neighboring countries. It is quite clear that the destiny of Algeria and the destiny of Mali are closely linked and can only testify our active solidarity so that we can project ourselves in a future full with confidence and courage, with the conviction that the solution to our problems is in our own hands. Upon his arrival to Bamako, Ramtal Amara held talks with his counterpart, Abdoulaye Diop, the Malian International Cooperation and Foreign Minister.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community abroad, Ramtal Amamra, began on Wednesday a working visit to Rome, Italy, following the invitation of his Italian counterpart, Luigi Di Maio. During his visit, he will partake in the third Italy-Africa ministerial meeting, whose proceedings will begin on Thursday, and which will revolve around climatic energy challenges facing Africa, as well as their repercussions on the development process on African countries. Ramtal Amamra also held a working meeting with his Italian counterpart, during which both parties discussed the current status of the Algerian-Italian bilateral relations, especially in terms of political, economical and commercial matters of interest, in addition to cooperation in the fields of energy and immigration. Both parties expressed their satisfaction with the cooperation level between the two countries, as well as the future potential that such cooperation can reach. Both parties also stressed on their commitment to step up their coordination and consultation efforts to prepare for the official visit of the Italian president to Algeria during the first half of November 2020, following an invitation of the Algerian president Abdelmajid Tebboune. On the regional level, both parties agreed to give an impetus to the Euro-Mediterranean relations, especially for the Algerian-European partnership. They also exchanged views on the latest developments in Libya, especially with the upcoming elections. It is worth mentioning that the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ramtan Lamamara, began his visit on Wednesday in Rome with interviews with reporters, members of the Foreign Correspondents Club.
The Minister of Justice, Abdelrashid Tibbi, received on Wednesday the chairman of the committee in charge of reviewing the basic law on the judiciary status. The draft of this law was handed by Mohamed Lamouri, president of Chamber with the Supreme Court. The meeting took place in the presence of the president of the National Union of Magistrates, Saad Mabrouk, the legal expert Suhila Gamoudi, and professor at the Higher School of Magistrature in their capacity as members of the Said Commission. The Minister of Justice insisted on thanking the President of the Commission and to all its members for the efforts deployed for the preparation of this text. This work is part of the review of the legal system relating to the judiciary branch and its adaptation to the Constitution of November 2020 in order to guarantee the freedom of justice in application of the commitments of the President of the Republic.
Starting Wednesday, Algerian startups will be able to use their foreign currency assets of goods and services. This measure for the production and export of Algerian know-how was announced during a meeting organized by the Bank of Algeria jointly with several banks and representatives of startups companies. In terms of international trade, they can receive 100% of their repatriation proceeds in cash. But if we talk about the use of their currency, we are in a strategy where we must reduce the use of cash as anywhere in the world. All anti-money laundering rules mean that cash should be an exception, not a rule. Thanks to instruction number 06/2021 of June 29, 2021, the proceeds will be returned to Algeria. This action will help startups to develop internationally oriented services, so they will automatically have more hosting services in Algeria allocated internationally, and we will automatically bring more foreign currency for the Algerian state. However, some exporters are calling for simplifying more the procedures so that they don't have to put up with bureaucracy, and it is especially appreciated by operators in the digital industry and its services, who are hoping for more incentives measures to follow.
In a statement released by the United Nations, Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, announced on Wednesday the appointment of Staffan de Mistura as his personal envoy for Western Sahara. Staffan de Mistura, who replaced Horst Kohler, who resigned in May 2019, and to whom Antonio Guterres is grateful for his constant and extensive efforts in laying the foundations for a new impetus in the political process on the Western Sahara.
The Moroccan occupation authorities continue to violate the rights of the Sahrawi people in the occupied territories. The house of the human rights activist Sultana Ibrahim Khaya was raided on Tuesday by the Moroccan police after she and her sister were beaten. And that was after their protest against preventing a group of Sahrawis from visiting her besieged house, among them the human rights activist Hasna Douihi, who in turn was beaten. All this footage from Boujdour shows.
اللي همهم